here, right? So we'll wait for Kent for a couple minutes here, and then if not, we'll go. Okay. Has anybody heard from Rachel at all?
No, how's she doing?
I don't know. That's, I'm hoping she's doing good. Okay.
She has a lot of stitches, and
Okay.
pictures today. She's not going to be walking for quite some time.
Well, we could get a wheelchair to bring her in to do this. She doesn't have to leave home, you know?
I think she's coming back on the 3rd.
Okay. That's fine.
I lost everybody. How do I get back into this thing?
What do you mean?
All I see is you, Sam.
Go to the camera
You
and
know?
see if it's on camera. That might be a good omen. All you see is me. You never know.
I don't know. I don't see anybody else. Do you guys see me?
Do you have little circles?
I see your glasses.
Oh, I don't know what happened. I saw everybody, and now I see
Okay.
you. Let's see. What the heck? I don't know what I hit. I hit something. Well,
Technology.
as long as I can hear, I guess that's all that matters, huh?
Sounds good. Well, I tell you what, there's no sense waiting. If Kent
Do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do. So we're fine. Okay. So let's get this thing started here. All right. The hearing of the Board and Zoning of Building Code Appeals is now called to order at 6:37 on April 21st, 2021. Okay. And I would ask the recording secretary to take roll call, but I will take roll call. And other members that are here would be Chris Hall, building inspector, Bob Rodick, if he's here, and I don't think Bob's here tonight. And I don't think the law director is here. Mark, is he? Doesn't sound like it. So let's do roll call. Mr. Pilato, here. Mr. Ferraro?
Here.
Mr. Shelko? He's not present. Mr. Iafrida?
Speaking.
And Mrs. Metzen.
Yeah. Present.
Okay. The only person I think we have in the audience right now, we'll find out. But if you want to speak this evening, okay, you're going to be required to be sworn in as in a court hearing, okay? And we'll take care of that in 1 second, all right, Maxwell?
Okay.
Okay. Is Maxwell or Max, what would you rather be called?
Max is good.
That's good, okay. Let's go to last month's minutes. And does anyone have any comments on the minutes from case number 638, 639, 640, and 641 from last meeting? Maybe been able to review them?
Yes. I don't have any questions. They look good to me.
Okay. Matt, Richard?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Any second?
I second the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Matt and Dick. Chris, we are recording this, right?
I believe Kyle is recording, yes.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I see the recording.
Yeah, someone started recording. Okay, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Well, anyhow, the minutes from last meeting have been approved, and they've been seconded by Dick Iafrida, and the motion was made by Matt. So those are all taken care of. All right. All right. All persons wishing to speak in this issue will please raise their right hand and affirm this oath. Max, that's you, please. And if there's anybody else.
Yeah, it looks like we have
Drew.
Yeah. Looks like we have Drew from representing.
Okay. Drew, this would also be for
Yes.
you? Okay. Right, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you will give before the board, to the best of your knowledge, an accurate and truthful presentation of the facts? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Now, in turn, please state your name and relationship to the case for the tape recorder voice recognition, please. Max.
Max Bacher, reside at 9692 North Bedford, and my relationship to the case is applying for a variance for a detached garage.
Okay, and Drew?
Hey, Daddy. Watch.
I am Drew Gatliff, development manager for Oleo Development Group, and I am here for the signage variance for Raising Cane's.
Thank you. I take it George is not here? Winkleman? Doesn't seem like it. All right. This hearing will be conducted in accordance with the provision of the Ohio Sunshine Law. The notice of the hearing was duly published in a newspaper in general circulation in the city of Macedonia. The notice is available to review upon request at the building department. The rules of the board require affirmative vote of 3 members in order to pass, regardless of the number of members present at the hearing. The hearing is conducted in an informal manner to review the evidence and to respond to questions. However, there is an outline of steps that will be taken in order. An applicant does not have to be present for the board to hear the case as publicized. Okay? Each case number appeal requested will be announced at its turn as it arrives. All right, our first case will be case 642. And the appeal form is in order. The secretary, I don't think there was any correspondence from any notified adjacent property owners. Am I correct on that, Chris?
I'm not aware of any, correct.
Okay, and I'm not aware of any, so there it is a no. Is there any unsolicited correspondence regarding this case? I guess that, okay. So, we're going to go forward. Will the zoning inspector now please state the city's position?
Number 642, the Board of Zoning and Building Code Appeals will hear a request for a variance at 9692 North Bedford Road. The variance being requested is to section 1163.02H1. Detached accessory buildings shall be located in a rear yard and shall comply with the side and rear yard requirements for buildings as specified in section 1163.02D, side and rear yards. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow a detached garage in a side yard.
Does the board have any questions of the city? I take it there's none. All right. Max, would you allow to do a presentation? And please state your presentation of the case.
Absolutely. So if you guys have that blueprint sketch I made in front of you, you'll see that the detached garage is going to be a 3-car garage. And the reason I want it up close is going to be, one, it's going to be something I park in every day. So instead of walking from my rear yard to my house, it's going to be a little bit shorter of a walk. There's already a paved driveway in place. So the position of the garage is going to help me with the minimum amount of paving I have to add as far as just a little apron. It will be a side yard. It's going to be kind of overlapped 20 feet of the existing house, but still has the proper setback of the state code away from the existing house. My current house, just the ranch, only has a 1-car attached garage. Between my fiance and myself, we have 4 cars. So I would like to have, again, this garage constructed to help security of vehicles. Obviously, like today, keeping snow off the vehicle is one less thing to deal with. And then the garage that's already existing on their property. We figured I can't park a car inside of it. Monday, we talked with the planning commission, setting something up as we'll basically level that if the new garage gets approved and we can construct that. Do you guys have any questions on the configuration of what I'm proposing here?
I have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Mrs. Metzel. Is sidewall D, is that the front? Is that what it's going to look like from the front of the street side, or is that going to be?
Yeah, the garage door bays are going to be facing north. So from the road, you're going to be seeing as minimal as possible. The length is going to be running east to west. So from the street, you're only going to be seeing 2 windows. You'll be seeing the shorter side.
You'll be seeing end wall B,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, from the road, the width of my lot is almost 200 feet. So if you're standing on the road looking at my house, you're really not going to be able to tell a depth of the garage overlapping if it's rear yard or side yard.
Right.
Okay, so you got 218 feet from the street from North Bedford to where you're going to start the garage. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, that is set back pretty far.
It also shows you're 30 feet off the property line,
Correct.
correct? And you're looking at 10 foot in between the existing garage, single car garage, and the new construction of the garage, correct?
Yes.
Is that where your driveway is?
So the current driveway is actually to the north of the garage. It runs along the property line. So when I'm coming down the driveway, I can go towards the north some, and then I'll be making a left into the garage door bays.
Okay.
Okay, I'm still confused. Where is the driveway on this drawing?
So on the drawing, I didn't draw it exactly in there, but from North Bedford, it goes, west right towards the single car attached garage.
Okay,
And then it also goes off toward the right to the north where the new car garage would be to the right of that.
So when you put more pavement in, where are you putting it? In the front of the new garage?
It'll be
The
just
old-
an apron. Yeah, just to the right.
Okay. Okay. So your existing driveway is going to stay, all you're going to do is add to match the new construction.
Yep, all I need is a little apron just to approach into the garage.
Okay. And you also said, and what I heard is that you met with the planning commission Monday. Okay. They had no problem with the size and everything because of your lot size. And once you get a variance, if you get a variance this evening, the old 29 by 24 building is coming down, correct?
Yes, we're going to put a contract in place, and I believe they mentioned the bond.
Okay. And you'll have a certain amount of time to take it down.
Correct. Yes.
they mentioned what? I didn't hear that, what you said.
That
Planning-
once if he gets a variance from the BZA this evening, planning commission already approved the size of the garage. Okay, because of the size of his lot. All right. So once he gets it, if he gets it this evening, the old garage that he has there in place will be torn down at a certain amount of time. The planning commission and the city hall will figure that out, but that will come down.
Now, when you say old garage, do you mean the one that's attached to the house or the separate structure behind?
The structure behind the
Okay.
29 by 24. It says old on his blueprint.
Yep, got it.
Okay. The single car garage, which is attached, is staying.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Bob Rodick here. I would confirm what Mr. Bacher is speaking of. I was at the Planning Commission meeting the other night, and the city's going to work with him in order to remove the existing structure and allowing the new structure to proceed forward.
Is there any further comments or questions from the board?
Was there a consideration to removing that structure first and replacing it. I know it's a different size, but replacing it with the new structure in the same location.
So in that back area, I would have to add substantial more pavement to get back there, and then just I'm gonna have, it's still gonna be an everyday place I park, so it's gonna be a lot shorter of a distance for me to walk to my house every day after work, parking in the garage and coming up into the house. That and just utilizing the current already paved driveway, and also just provides a little bit of privacy in the backyard.
Got it. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
I'll make a motion that we allow the variance to proceed for a detached garage in the side yard.
Anybody second the motion?
Dick Iafrida, I second the motion as stated.
Can I amend it? I just want to say due to the size of the lot, I want to have that added on. Due to the size of the lot being 1.5 acres,
That's fine.
we should grant the variance to allow the detached garage in the side yard. Whoever's taking minutes, if they could add that on.
It's being recorded. That's fine.
Okay.
It's also
That's
been
fine.
done it's also been done with the planning commission for the size of the garage he's putting up also because of his property size. So that's fine, Sue. Okay.
Okay.
I would ask the recording secretary to do a roll call vote, but I'll be doing it. So let's start with Mr. Ferrara.
Yes.
Mr. Shelker, he's not here. Mr. Iafrida?
Yes.
Ms. Metzel?
Yes.
Mr. Pilato? Yes. The motion has passed. Motion, I should say that case 642 has passed. Thank you very much, Max.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome, sir. You have a good evening if you don't want to stay with us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Let's go to case 643, which will be Mr. Winkleman. Is he here yet?
I don't believe he's here.
Okay, so we're going to go on anyhow. All right, so let's do this. This one's done. Case 643. Will the zoning inspector now please state the city's position?
The Board of Zoning and Building Code Appeals will hear a request for a variance at 1252 East Aurora Road. The variance being requested is to section 1179.13I. All signs in business and industrial districts may be illuminated, provided that light sources to illuminate such signs shall be shielded from all adjacent residential buildings and streets and shall not be of such brightness so as to cause glare hazardous to pedestrians or motorists, or as to create reasonable objection from adjacent residential districts. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow an illuminated backlit wall sign and recessed LED lighting of 3 icon niches for the artwork in an R1 residence district.
Hey, Chris, I have a question. I got an email today saying that Planning Commission granted lighting already, so we don't even have to discuss that, do we?
Well,
yes, we do.
They didn't, they approved the signage, but they did not address the exterior or the interior illuminated signs or wall sign. And that is not permitted in a residential district.
So which part of it did they already approve?
They approved the size of the sign and the style.
Correct. We have to approve the lighting, okay? And you also got an email today from Chris, all right, that shows the sign. And it should say St. Giorgio's Indian Orthodox Church
Mm-hmm,
in the pictures.
right.
And we're gonna be voting on the variance for the lighting. The sign's been already approved by Planning Commission.
So
I would
is,
add-
can I ask Chris one more question real quick?
Sure.
So is what we're approving or being asked to approve, is that the picture of their saint or whatever? Is that what's going to be lit up in 3 places on their
Yes.
church?
Yes, those are going to have the backlit or recessed LED lighting on the, I believe that's St. Gregorio's.
Are they going to be on like 24/7?
No, just in the evening.
Okay,
I mean, if they were on during the day, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna see the lights anyhow,
Right.
so
right.
it's just the
Okay.
evening part. So, and I don't know if it's all night or not, but we're on Route 82, so.
Yeah. Okay.
You have anything else, Chris, on this at all?
No, other than Planning Commission approved everything other than, and they didn't even address the illuminated wall signs.
Well, I would ask the appellate for a presentation, but I take it they figured they didn't need to do it. So we'll go on further and just ask if there's any further questions or comments from the board.
So just to clarify, the intent of the ordinance is for, hazards to pedestrians or motorists or, distractions for people that live nearby, right?
Correct.
So something that's theoretically something that's backlit would not pose as much of a hazard as something that's a direct light out into the street, right?
Correct. And I mean, also just the LEDs, ones that flash all the time and, so those are a little bit different than this here too. It's going to be backlit on the building. Am I correct, Chris?
Yes, it is backlit on the building.
Okay.
And nothing will be flashing, correct?
No
Chris?
lights.
No flashing? Okay. Hi, Kent.
Hello, Kent.
Good evening. Sorry I'm late.
Let's, you haven't been in on this case, have you really? You just got in?
Correct.
Okay, so just hang on a minute. Just hang on for a second. We're gonna take a vote on this. Well, I guess the chair is gonna entertain a motion on case 643.
Yep. Motion to approve case 643 for a variance to allow for LED lighting in a residential district.
We have a second.
I'll
Dick
second it.
Iafrida, I will second the motion as stated.
Okay. The recording secretary, which is gonna be me this evening, is gonna take roll call. Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Iafrida,
Yes,
Ms. Matzo,
Yes.
Mr. Pilato, yes. So, case 643 has been passed. All right. Great.
Is that just a quick question? Is that typical that the applicant doesn't appear before the board?
I wouldn't say it's typical. I mean, sometimes it does happen. Okay, but we don't have to have the applicant at the meeting as I stated at the beginning, and you see it on your
Right.
sheet that we have there.
Yep.
I couldn't give you a reason why. Like I said before, maybe they felt that they didn't need to be. Okay. Some of the things are pretty cut and dry. So I guess, you know, personally myself, I would be there one way or the other. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
to make sure if there was any questions, but we
Got it.
can't
I was just
speak for them.
curious. Yep. Thank
Okay.
you.
What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to put Mr. Shelko in on the roll call. All right, let's do another roll call real quick. This way it's all legit. All right. So I'm going to do a roll call for our BZA meeting that we started tonight at 6:35 on,
37,
pardon me?
6:37.
Excuse me, thank you very much. 6:37 on April 21st, 2021.
You
So
don't
let's
think I
do-
don't pay attention?
Well, I didn't know if you took a nap or not. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? You know, if you want to take a snooze, go get a snack or whatever you need. Okay. Okay. Roll call. Mr. Ferrara,
Here.
Mr. Shelko,
Present.
Mr. Iafrida,
Speaking.
Ms. Metzel,
Yes, present.
and Mr. Pilato here. Okay. Now we're all legal and we're ready to go. We are going to case 644. All right. And will the zoning inspector please state the city's position, please?
The Board of Zoning and Building Code Appeals will hear a request for a variance at 597 East Aurora Road. The variance being requested is to section 1179.03C1. Each building frontage shall be entitled to the sign area permitted in this chapter. However, there shall be no more than one sign on each building frontage. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow an additional sign on the east building elevation.
Does the board have any questions of the city?
I just wondered, Chris, this seems like an unusual amount of signage. Is there other buildings that have this many signs on their building?
Or maybe a follow-on to that question too would be, are there any other Raising Cane's in the area that have a similar number of signs as well?
I think they both, go ahead, I'm sorry. Drew?
I'm not aware of any other buildings with regard to the amount of signage. So I can't say whether this is excessive or not, because I didn't go and look at other buildings in the city and calculate square footage. I believe one other building, like the Get-Go at Highland and Route 8, has more signage or received a variance for signage because they were, you know, substantially over the allowable amount. But I think that's the only one that I'm aware of now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board yet?
You know, speaking about that Get-Go, would the variance, they gave them the variance for the extra signage because of the size of the property and the area that it entailed. Now, we're talking here of Raising Cane, which is a small area. Probably one quarter the size of that Get-Go. So
Okay,
that's
well, all right. The board's going to allow a presentation from the appellate. Please state your presentation on the case, please. Drew?
Yes. Thank you for hearing our case. So what we're proposing is we are permitted to have 170 square feet of signage, and rather than having that on with essentially two large signs on the two facades, we're proposing to spread our signage around all facades. And given the shape of the lot, with it being more narrow than it is long, then the wider side of our building is facing the side frontage, and with a limited frontage, or with a limitation on that frontage, then it reduces our allowable square footage, because there's a limitation of 75 square feet on the secondary frontage. So we are allowed 95 square feet plus 75 square feet on the side frontage. And so we would be allowed to have those size signs by right. And we're proposing to spread those around to the three sides. The front tower is, from Planning Commission, we went through that in order to have a front tower that did not exist before, with an old Steak and Shake. And so we expanded that tower both outward and also in height, in order to provide a more grand entrance. And in doing so, as part of the design, was to basically create a three-sided tower instead of just a single front-sided tower. And so that's why we spread the signs along the front and then both sides of that front tower. It will look, what we're looking at is in elevation, so you're just looking at it in 90 degree, but in reality, that'll look like more or less a three-sided sign with those signs all at the front. The other signs that we are requesting are the over the secondary or side entrance, where our parking is going to be. So we anticipate that being our main entrance point to the building, with the parking there and along the rear. And then we are also proposing the mural, the hand-painted mural, which is a really cool architectural feature that we do, that pays homage. And there was a piece in the in the packet that we submitted that showed that when they uncovered, or when they renovated the very first location and turned it into a Raising Cane's, they uncovered this Wolf's Bakery mural. And so they've modeled the logo and after that. And so the mural does two things. The first thing it does is it pays homage to that very first location down in Baton Rouge. But then it also has the community's name. So the community that Raising Cane's serves, in this case, Macedonia, will be painted on the bottom left-hand corner. So it would say Macedonia. So that's our outward expression of our tie to the community. Inside the building, we have memorabilia like sports teams and other interesting things about the community that we serve. And so, but this is the outward expression of that. I can speak to some other buildings that do have side or signs on all four sides. With Chick-fil-A, now I understand that's on the corner, but it does have signs on all four sides. So that's one as an example. And then the Popeyes down on Macedonia Commons Boulevard does have signs on all four sides as well. And we are requesting signs on three sides of the building and not all four.
How many of your locations have that mural on them? All of them?
Not every location has the mural. Obviously, it's something that we would like to have for every location. As I mentioned, it is a very neat architectural feature. We have the same. There are two people that are permitted in the nation to paint that mural across all Raising Cane's, and they do 75 to 80 a year, and so it's the same person. So there's a really strong artistic ability to do that, and then also the quality is very high quality. The restaurant will get assessed by the corporate entity, if there are any dings or chips or anything on that with that mural, then it is counted against them, and they have to remedy that as quickly as possible. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish.
I was just going to say it's a really cool because it's painted directly over the brick, so you see that brick come through. The texture of the brick definitely comes through. That you can tell that it's painted directly on the mural or on the brick, as opposed to on like a plywood or some kind of a substrate and then applied to it. So you get that texture of the brick that shows through as well.
I think it's really cool. The only thing is it's using up a whole lot of your square footage for signage. Would it be possible to shrink that by half so that you could almost fall into the required, the 107, it'd be about 175 if you shrunk that one by half and took off the one on the east elevation? Because you're going to see those cane signs up on the tower on all three sides.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have visibility for, anybody wanting to know where it is. But if you could shrink that beautiful mural down, I think, it would be helpful to fall in line with other businesses for your square footage.
That mural, number one, I guess, as you pointed out, it's always going to be pristine. So if it's starting to look bad, they're going to repaint it, do what they have to do to keep it up. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And also, that mural is just going to be on the drive-through side, on the back part of the building, back portion of the building. Am I correct?
It's counting toward the total square footage of the signage, though.
That I understand, but that's why they have a variance, because they want that size of all the signage. So even if they did go to half, they would need a variance then. That's what they're looking for, correct?
Yeah, correct. It is from the right of way. It is on the back third of the building. It basically, if I'm looking at the site plan, it almost lines up with the back bay of the Discount Tire next door. So the visibility, yes, it's visible. So I don't want to say that it's not. It's mostly going to be visible for the people in the drive-through, our patrons, and then Discount Tire is going to see it. But driving down 82, I would not think that that's much of a distraction or anything like that.
Right. And it's also got the city of Macedonia on there, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And that city of Macedonia is going to be the biggest letters on there, right?
Well, I can't promise that.
Okay. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to ask, the sign that's on the east side,
yes,
on the side of the building, not on the tower.
Yeah.
Is there like a particular aesthetic reason for that particular sign? I mean, aside from the marketing reason, is there a particular reason for that one?
Yeah. So the real reason, or the big reason of having that sign there, is to identify that entrance that is on that. So it's on that entrance tower. Just typically when you see a sign, that's where people will head when they're going, to enter a building. And so that's really the reason, is to more or less identify that as the entrance there.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And on that tower with the three different signs, they're all the same size, correct?
Yes, they are.
If I'm looking at, okay. So the one sign on the east, you're going to be able to see when you're heading west. The one on the west, you're going to be able to see when you're heading east. And the one in the front, you're going to see from across the street.
Correct.
So,
yes.
Okay.
So I have a quick question, Mr. Chairman. So the first variance is just to allow on multiple sides of the building. I know we're getting into square footage and signs. So the first variance is to allow for all three sides?
One sign, yes, one sign on each side of the building frontage. That's correct. Am I right, Chris?
No, it's the east building we're talking about, the east side. Yeah.
Correct.
Chris?
It's only one side of the building. And that would be,
Each building frontage shall be entitled to the sign in front of
because the drive-through will also have an additional
each,
sign. You'll have
right.
an additional sign on the primary frontage, an additional sign on the secondary.
So my question is, the first variance is just if we would allow these signs on the sides, not dealing with the square footage yet.
Correct, on the east side of the building, okay,
Just on the east, because there's, the third variance is for the west side, right?
right. This is the east side.
So one additional question, it kind of applies to all three, but I guess pertaining to the first one. The other Raising Cane's in the area, is there a similar orientation of all this, 3 signs plus a mural plus a sign above the entrance, kind of like that whole scheme of signage?
I would say yes, with the exception of the front. So no other location has a tower like this.
Okay.
So this is, kind of like almost like a bell tower, where it's, it's a lot grander entrance, and that front tower is a lot grander than what we would ever, or what we have ever done in the area. And so that was something that was very specific to this location, which is what, a big piece of what's causing, the variance requests. If we left the tower the same as the Steak and Shake, and we kept it, it pretty much exactly the same, then we wouldn't have a reason or we wouldn't have the signs on the side of the front tower. But because during Planning Commission, it was requested that we make that tower a grander, tower and grow it to, in height and also in width and depth to really showcase that. That's what's really caused the
And this has been happening.
Additional.
Yeah,
Okay,
this has happened because of the remodeling.
Correct.
Remodeling of the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were guided to look at Walgreens and utilize that as a good go by. And so that's, we use that not as much of a pitch, but we use that as our tower element from Walgreens is where we kind of got, we use that as our go by for the tower. And so it has that, multiple side, it's on a corner, but it's, multiple sided there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just a note to the board, we're probably going to be seeing something like this with Bash Jewelers, and maybe even more detailed when they put up their building and their tower, from what I'm understanding. So just a note, okay? Doesn't have nothing to pertain to this case. So anyhow, does we have any more comments or questions from the board?
Drew, I didn't really hear your answer. Would it be possible to shrink that mural down and still have it be, there's kind of a representation that you're looking for painted on the brick? Could you shrink it down somewhat so it wouldn't be, need such a large variance?
I understand that request and our concern with reducing that down to, if we cut it in half, even the scale of that compared to the wall that it's on would be quite a bit out of proportion, where the length of that wall, the size of it we feel is appropriately sized for the wall that it's on. Whereas if we went with a, half size of that, then it would more look like a sticker on a building versus, the architectural feature that we're going after.
Well, Would you count that as more important than the signage over the door on the east elevation?
Would I count the mural as more important?
Yes.
I think the signage over the secondary entrance is probably more important. If we were gonna place a level of importance on our signs.
I don't really think that's a fair question, because if you own your own business and you're putting in signage, you would like to get as much as you can. This way it's visible to anybody anywhere. So personally myself, I don't have a problem with the size of it. Okay, the mural or the other signage on the towers, but
Well,
that's my comment. Anybody else?
we always have to be aware of setting precedents for other businesses to come forward and request bigger and better. So that's why we have our codes. That's what I'm trying.
I don't think, excuse me, Sue, but I don't think the mural has anything. This is a showpiece for them throughout the country. And it's coming from 1930 as I read it, Wolf. So this is something that they want to enhance the building and bring back history, not so much signage as we're looking at signs. After they come all the way around the building is when they see the mural. And like Sam said, I think it's an unfair question to ask to reduce this mural.
Well, I would tend to disagree with that. I think that a board member could ask any question that they feel that is relevant to their speaking about it. Sue, what if we spoke, I kind of am with you as far as the signage, because usually the variance goes with the property, not with the just certain business. But the mural to me is not one that's going to be viewed much. And what if we put in there that the additional signage on the west part of the building has to be farther than 50% past the center of the building or something, because when it's that far back, you're not going to see it on the road, and it's going to control it a little bit more if somebody else sees it. And if we added language like that, would that make you a little more comfortable with it?
In other words, keeping the variance at 86 feet.
I don't know if we're doing all three variances or what. Is all I'm saying is that where the mural is placed, in my mind, it's not really visible from 82, whereas the tower is visible, and then the other sign is for those walking in the establishment. The mural's kind of an extra, but it's going to face mostly that tire place. And if we were to say that the second signage on the west side of the building has to be farther than 50% of the building or something, to say that it's going to be in the back, so that another business can't just say, oh, I want a giant sign in the front because they had a giant sign. The large sign
Can't you keep going back and forth? If the sign's not going to be visible from 82, it's only going to be seen by the tire place, then what's the difference? Why go through all the headache?
Kent, would you are you recommending like a change to the ordinance to clarify?
No. We can add with
council
the variance, when we grant a variance, we can make some conditions on
stipulate.
it.
Okay, got it.
So what I'm saying for this property, what they want to propose is basically, in my mind, towards the back of the building. So it's a unique situation. Whereas, like Chick-fil-A or Popeyes, they're on the side in the middle. And in this situation, we can say that we're granting this because it's a mural and because it's on the back third or back half of the building. That's not going to be, someone else isn't going to duplicate and say, oh, well, I want a mural on the side of, that's what Sue is getting at, is another, I want a mural.
Or a mural on the front of the building.
Correct.
Fine.
But I guess
I have no problem with that if the rest of the board agrees.
so I was just seeing if that was, if Sue was comfortable, if that was a kind of a,
You're looking at the mural as actually almost not part of the signage. You're just looking at it as something unique to this particular building. And if that's how you all feel, that's okay. That, I can go along with that. I just was trying to be cautious of ever, getting too much signage on a building that didn't maybe warrant as much. But if we're not looking at it as signage, we're looking at it as a historical mural. That's okay.
No, I was here with you when Get-Go, they go crazy. And then not only do they ask for 1,000 variances, but they don't even follow them. So I know exactly where you're coming from. You have to watch it and be able to make this a case-by-case situation where you're not just making a blanket variance and then someone else carries it and goes crazy. So I just want to see if we can add a couple things to it and make it something we'll all agree on.
You'd have no problem. Matt, you had something?
Yeah, I think I was just, so when we talk about precedents, usually we're not pulling up the previous variances, right? Usually we're talking about what we visibly see in the community. So in this situation, I like your idea, Ken, but I think there's probably little,
legal.
Yeah, like I doubt that we would be going back to look at that specific.
I wish Mark was here.
So
if Mark was here, we'd get the legal on it, but go ahead.
Is there like a way that we can at least just give a recommendation to council to say, hey, if you ever consider, amending this ordinance, adding some sort of stipulation on, to that effect? I don't know.
And
we could talk to him about it, but like I said, that's great. Here's the thing: you guys were at Planning Commission Monday night, and they approved everything except these variances, correct?
Correct. And just if I can say, I am development manager for the Raising Cane's, and so I see a lot of these boards. I'm not sure if Macedonia is different in any way, but my understanding is that the Board of Zoning Appeals is a non-precedent setting board or entity. And I understand because I go in every time and I say there's a precedent, but I do understand that that's not, it doesn't matter if it was granted previously. And so I don't know if Macedonia is that way, but I do know that is what I've run into in a lot of different municipalities. And so, but I think that, obviously we're open, we have the design and it fits within that last 50%, but I think that would, from a precedent standing, a non-precedent precedent, if you will, that, it being not very visible from the main road or a main portion is the quote unquote argument against somebody else coming in and saying, hey, I want a mural on the front of our building.
Right.
But
as a board, okay, Kent, Sue, Dick, and Matt, we're absolutely right. Okay. We don't have to grant variances to any other murals either. So, basically, if you look at it as a mural, as a historical thing, versus signage, we could use that in our workings and our decisions also.
Right. I think that should be part of the motion in terms of why we're granting such a large signage variance, that is actually a mural.
Well, the chair's going to entertain a motion then.
Okay. Kent, you want to do it?
So, we're gonna do these one at a time, right?
This is case 644. East Building.
I move a motion that we accept case 644 as requested.
Okay.
Second.
And Matt seconded. Okay. Then I'll entertain I'm gonna call for a roll call on case 644. Mr. Ferrara,
Yes.
Mr. Shelko,
Yes.
Mr. Iafrida,
Yes.
Ms. Metzel,
Yes.
Mr. Pilato, yes. So, case 644 has been passed and approved. Okay. We're going to case 645. And will the zoning inspector please state the city's position?
The Board of Zoning and Building Code Appeals will hear a request for a variance at 597 East Aurora Road. The variance being requested is to section 1179.03 F2 and 1179.07 F1. The maximum permitted area for identification signs is 2 square feet for each lineal foot of building frontage, plus additional sign area when a customer entrance faces a parking lot. The applicant is requesting a sign area variance of 86 square feet.
Any questions from the board?
Nope.
This would be where we put in the part about the mural. 101 square feet being a mural.
So the 86 square feet could be totally taken up by the mural. Is that correct?
What size is the mural?
It is 101 square feet.
So
So you're looking at what? 101 square foot from 86 to 101, correct?
Yeah, so essentially if we took away the mural, then we would be within the allowable square footage.
Well, we're not being asked to grant a variance for 101, Sam. We're asked to grant a variance of 86.
That's
how much
correct. I just
those
wanted
are-
to know what size the sign was, that's all.
Yeah, okay.
Correct. So the area, the variance is for 86 square feet.
Right.
Any other questions from the board?
nope.
Okay. Then I guess I'll entertain a motion for case 645.
I make a motion that we accept the variance of 86 square feet.
I had a second?
Second.
Is that Matt?
Yep.
Thank you. I'm trying to write everything down for Rachel if we
Well,
don't get it on tape.
Can we
Okay.
can we put in here due to the fact of a large mural being part of the variance? This
Do we want to put it on, the only thing, Sue, is do we want to put it on 45 or 46?
Well, 46. Yeah.
46
what-
specifically speaks to the drive-through side.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Put it on. I guess you could do 46.
All
Okay.
right, we're gonna take a roll call. Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
On case 645. Mr. Ferraro?
Yes.
Mr. Shelko?
Yes.
Mr. Iafrida?
Yes.
Ms. Metzel?
Yes.
Mr. Pilato? Yes. Okay, so case 645 has passed. And we're going to proceed to case 646. And will our zoning inspector please state the city's position, please?
The Board of Zoning and Building Code Appeals will hear a request for a variance at 597 East Aurora Road. The variance being requested is to section 1179.03 C1. Each building frontage shall be entitled to the sign area permitted in this chapter. However, there shall be no more than one sign on each building frontage. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow 2 signs on the west elevation drive-through considered neither a primary or a secondary frontage and therefore not entitled to signage.
Any questions from the board for the city?
Now, I had one comment regarding, Mr. Chairman, when everyone is saying that's an excess in sign area, the 86 square feet. The Planning Commission didn't seem to address this, but under 1179.03 C6, it says when a site has primary and secondary frontage as defined in subsection 1179.03 C5, the property owner shall determine which wall shall be the primary frontage and which wall shall be the secondary building frontage. And if you choose the south elevation as the primary frontage and the east elevation as the secondary frontage, you're allowed 170 square feet. However, if you choose the east elevation as the primary frontage and then the south elevation as the secondary frontage, the total sign area allowed would be 252 square feet. And the reason being is because the primary parking area is not located adjacent to a public street, or the building or unit has walls with ingress and egress that do not face a public street. So I think if you really look at the code, that the owner can choose the primary and secondary frontage, and I don't believe they did that in Planning Commission. If Mr. Gatliff chose, the opposite of what Planning Commission said, then he would be allowed 252 square feet of signage, which would only say you need an additional 4 square feet.
Well, even with that said, Chris, we have passed that section, correct? And
Just talking about case 646
okay.
as of the
Right.
mural.
Oh, as to which one they selected as the
As a primary.
And
So
and I
if they give us a selection, okay, on your last, what you just told us, all right, basically it's only four square feet over
Correct.
variance.
Correct.
and just so just to give a little background on that, I didn't want to get it. I take a fairly cautious approach, and a very, from my standpoint, trying to take an amenable approach and make sure that, I'm not trying to twist things to make them work in my favor when it could be construed differently. You could argue one way or the other. And so from my standpoint, I wanted to do the variance as the worst possible scenario. And I know, Chris, you and I discussed that. It is basically when we presented or when we submitted, it was the worst case scenario. And then that way there was no question mark about why we, how did we arrive at something and then run into, someone determining from a legal standpoint if it was okay or not the way we interpreted something.
We appreciate that, Drew. That's why we have Chris, our inspector, and also Bob, our building official, to help us out also, because they do this on a daily basis where we don't. Okay.
And I
So
appreciate
that's
that. They're the ones who brought that up to me.
You may be getting tired of our questions, but we do need to ask questions. Okay.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay. I guess, is there any more questions from the board? If we go with the scenario Chris is just talking about. All right.
Aren't we going to just do 646 right now about the west side? He was talking about the east and the south, but I thought we were dealing with case 646, the west.
We are dealing with 646. Okay, what Chris responded to was the ordinances, all right, depending on what the applicant states that their main entrance is, and their secondary entrances. So that was the variance or the difference with where Chris was talking about. That was his scenario on it. So this is for case 646.
Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion on case 646.
All right, I'll make a motion to grant the variance to allow the 2 signs on the west elevation. However, one is a historical mural that is being granted in addition to the other sign. What do you call it? The entrance sign. Because it says
it's on the drive.
Yeah.
It's on the drive-through on the west side.
Right. On the west elevation. We're going to allow the 2 signs on the west elevation, although it should be noted that the rather large 101 square foot hand-painted mural is an exception to the norm, but we're allowing it.
Do I have a second on it?
I'll second. It's Kent.
Okay. Roll call on case 646. Matt Ferrara,
Yes.
Kent Shelko,
Yes.
Mr. Iafrida,
Yes.
Ms. Metzel,
Yes.
Mr. Pilato, yes. So case 646 has passed, and it looks like we're just about done with all of our cases this evening. Ms.
Thank you
Drew,
so much.
it's been a pleasure, sir. Hopefully you guys get this done quicker than everybody wants it done because they're ready to go there. So
Yes.
do they have a time that they were talking? I heard it was like May 1st.
It's not May 1st. We ran into a couple of items, and one of the items is the boring in the road, which I know Bob is familiar with. We're working through that now, and just from a timing standpoint, that has been a little bit delayed. I believe that's happening this week, but it's all night work, and so there were some scheduling delays with our within our team and our subcontractors to be able to make that work. So we're looking substantial completion being later half of May, unfortunately now, and so it'll be a June opening most likely. If we can squeeze it into May, then that would be lovely, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that.
Well, how about May 31st? That's my birthday.
Right.
I'll be your customer.
I would love that. So one thing that Raising Cane's does is we are closed on all major holidays. So that being Memorial Day.
I would this year. Yep.
Yes. So
June
it
6th,
will
I'll be
closed.
there.
All right, that works. That's my dad's birthday.
There you go.
So.
Good. Well, we appreciate it. Good
Yes,
luck to
thank
you.
you.
Get it done.
Thank
And I think the residents of Macedonia, they'll stop in as far as I hear. So
Well,
thanks very much.
We look forward
Good.
to it. Thank you so much. We appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you. Anything else with the board?
I really apologize, but can I ask basically, sorry, what happened with, did we pass case 642, the first one?
That's correct. We did.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry,
No, that's okay. No problem. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Who put it in motion to pass it? Do you remember on the first case? I know it's on the video, on the recording. But
Who made the motion? I second the motion.
I made the motion.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Richard seconded. Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you very much. I didn't have it written down. Okay. I'm trying to keep it all in order here. This way Rachel won't get too mad at me. So, but we'll see what happens.
So, tell me, so.
I have nothing else unless anybody else does.
enjoy the snow.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Anybody second the motion?
second.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Take
Chris,
care.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
everybody.
Thank you.
If you talk to Rachel, tell her I said hello, please.